Hi, and welcome to my very first vlog all by myself.
You go, I'll be okay. I can dream the rest away. It's just a little touch of fate, it'll be okay. It sure takes its precious time, but it's got rights and so have I. I turn my head to the sky, focus one bug at a time. I do not beg a little peace, under my tent and sleep. It couldn't be a longer time. I feel like I am walking blind. I know right time, there are no legible signs.
My recent endeavors of anime, which I started watching Suritama, which is like the cutest anime ever, about fishes, and I have made an effort to learn some of the beginning dance, like when they're like do. So I know part of that, and I've only gotten so far to the point where Haru's like, oh, I don't want to fish anymore, and I'm like, Haru, why? And it's the most adorable thing ever. I haven't gotten to watch it very much. As lame as this makes me sound, I like dubbed better. I'm lazy, and I'd rather watch dubs than watch a full subtitled video unless the dubs really suck. And then I'd rather watch the subs because, like, for instance, Sailor Moon, which I love Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was my very first anime ever, and I watched the whole thing dubbed, but I prefer the subbed version. And the same thing with Tokyo Mew. Anything for kids just needs to not be dubbed. Recently started watching more Toonami shows. Now they have Soul Eater and the uncut Naruto. You see I'm surrounded by Naruto. Original Naruto, not Shippuden. Shippuden can die because I'm not a big fan of Shippuden. I never got into it. And I just don't get the show. I think it's too much. It's gone on too long. There's a stopping point that every show needs. And I think that Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Have far past the stopping point. Even Bleach has far past the stopping point. People who write shows, look at me in the eye. Look at me. You need to stop. There's a point where a show needs to stop. I was talking about Suritama, but I got off topic. And then I was talking about Sailor Moon. I don't know how I got here. I've been watching The Beautiful World Italia. Prussia's in it. Seychelles makes another appear. I mean, this is gonna be like the best season ever because it's just everyone is there, literally. India's there, Australia's there. I'm waiting for Scotland to come in because Scotland needs to no longer be a drunk OC. He needs to be a real thing. And so does Ireland. Ireland needs a St. Patrick's Day episode because that would be amazing, right? On the manga side of things that I've been reading lately, I read X-Men Misfits, which is a manga form of X-Men from Kitty Pryde's perspective, who is the Shadow Cat who faces through walls. Alex loves X-Men, too. Kitty Pryde is one of my favorite characters from X-Men Evolution. She was played by Juno in the original movies, so that was great. She's coming back. Yes!
Ellen Page is going to be in the Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past, Juno, Kitty. Amazing. I mean, Kitty's an amazing character, and Misfits is amazing. Because I think it puts a new twist on the X-Men story that we all know. We all know that the storyline, but it makes it different, but the same. And it's actually very interesting. I love it. I think it stays true to X-Men without being cliched. Without being like, oh, I've seen this before, I've read this before. It's the same thing that X-Men Evolution did. It's not the comic book, and oh, the comic book goes this way, and that's not right. But I'm not all about that. I think original ideas, all for it. Creativity is good. So, and I also read Soul Eater Not, which is all about a kid who's a year or two, I can't remember if they were a year or two below Maka and Soul and all of them, and she's a weapon, and she's getting fought over by these two meisters, and I can't remember names, because I just read it. I've read it for the first time, and I haven't gotten that far, and it's only the first book that I've read. And I think it's really cute. I think it's a different look on the Soul Eater story, which I love. Except for the ending. With, like, the WTF, like, what happened to Maka. I was like, what? Where'd that come from? I think that they should have hinted towards it more. And should have just, like, I'm not going to say it because I know that some of my friends haven't seen the whole thing of so later yet, but I think they should have hinted towards it and not have just like popped it out there. I know people like that. Some people are like, oh, it wasn't even like I didn't even suspect it happening. I was like, I think that they should hint towards it. I think the little foreshadowing is okay, but not J.K. Rowling foreshadowing. That's a lot. The Doctor. I'm also reading. I read up to the 5th book in the Cheshire Cat's Waltz series from the Quinn Rose series of the Alice in the Country of Hearts. I love everyone in that story. Like, there's not one person in there that I feel like, they could have done them better, because I think that they did it perfect. I think that all of the Country of Hearts series are, like, great, even though most of them have different artists, which I think is great. I think that's amazing. I think, how do you get all that many artists to do kind of the same thing? It took a while for me to notice until I was holding up the Elliot March, the My Frantic Rabbit, whatever, that one, towards the Country of Joker one, and I was like, what is this artwork? This is different. Boris and Alice are probably my favorite couple together. It goes them, like, they're my OTP for Alice, and then, like, it goes them, and then it goes Elliot, and then it goes Blood, and then it goes, like, Blood Twins. You know, not all into twincest. I think it's in time she would choose one or the other. Because twincest is gross. The only time that, like, yeah, no, I've always liked twincest. Like, even during Oron, I was like, Hikaru is gonna be with Haruhi. I didn't like Haruhi and Tamaki. I liked them, but they weren't my OTP. I was like, Hikaru, Haruhi. Perfect. Because I thought that they were really well with chemistry. Like, they weren't ever awkward together. They were just kind of weird. I think it was a very realistic relationship, whereas Haruhi with Tamaki was like, he's this really, really naive junior, and she was this really, really smart sophomore. And he's like, what are these feelings that I am feeling? It must be feelings of fatherly love. Not like he could actually be in love with this girl, but he felt that he was a father figure. It was just a little weird. I was like, Tamaki, you need to grow up a little bit. But Kyoya belongs with me. I think if I were to break the fourth wall between anime and the real world, I would take Kyoya and Prussia and all of my anime loves and just, like, reverse polygamy and marry them all. Does that make me sound like a creeper? A little bit? What was I talking about? So the Quinn Rose series, I gave, like, a 10 out of 10. The Quinn Rose, Alice, the Country of Hearts, Alice, the Country of Clover, Country of Joker. And then I also have started reading Homestuck. I haven't gotten that far. I'm still in the Act 3 because I'm reading it on my dad's laptop. I don't have all this much time at my dad's house. And if you know anything about Homestuck, you can't skip from act to act. So I can't be like Act 3 and then skip through the pages of that. I have to skip through every page that I have read if I want to start it at a new computer. I'm not going to do that. I'm too lazy. I read it before, and if you know anything about this, is I hated Homestuck. I was like, I read the first 10 pages, I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever, I don't know how people got into this. And I was totally against it. But then I was like, Homestuck's a thing. This is a thing, and, like, hundreds and hundreds of people love it. There has to be some reason that people like this. So the stupidness, where this is, like, the dumbest thing ever. So I read it again, and I had to get myself past the first 10 pages. And all of a sudden, bam! A comet's coming towards his house, and everything gets really, really serious. Like, he's eating this apple, and the comet's turning towards his house, and, like, it's rainy, and Rose's signal's about to go out, and, like, who the heck is he talking to in the chat room? Okay, I totally knew Dave, because I kind of had spoilers along the way, because I know about trolls. I know about Dave. I know about Dirk, so like that. I knew about Jade. I knew about all of them. I knew that the person he was talking to in the red was Dave. I could just tell. And I knew that one of the girls was Jade, which I actually thought originally Rose was Jade, but it ended up being the other way around. I really want to do an Airden cosplay because I am an Aquarius, and Airden he's class. He is the height of class. No matter what other people might tell you, Airden is classy. He's a classy fisherman. And I also want to cosplay Jade. Because Jade is a little psycho freak, and I love her. She's like, I know, but I don't know how I know, but I just know that I know, you know. That's definitely on my list of cosplays. Vocaloid. I have now just started to get into Vocaloid, which it sounds weird, like, Hannah, you are an anime fan. You must have loved Vocaloid forever since you started watching it in, like, 7th grade. But the truth is, I didn't get it. I thought Vocaloid was a show for the most time. I thought that was a show, and I had spent, like, almost a year searching for the show. And never once on Wikipedia or anything did it say that they were singers and they weren't a show. Because I don't think they ever thought that anyone would think it was a TV show. I didn't get it. I thought they just, like, had these songs, like, happened to be about these singers. Or these robot singers, whatever. And so that's why I never got into Vocaloid until I was told that it wasn't a show. And that was an embarrassing moment in my life. On May 4th, Star Wars Day, we are doing Fantasy Kickball, which is where you dress up like a character from something that has a power, and you play kickball, and then once in the game, you get to use said power. I am going to be China, and I'm going to have a walk, and I'm going to run on the bases, hitting people with my walk, because I am China, and I have a walk. And Alex wants to be Hermione, and she's gonna cast some kind of Hermione-ish spell. I only read the first book, and I have other friends, like, I know a person who's gonna be, Shima, or Sheena, I think it's Sheena, from Angel Beats. It's been a long time since I've watched Angel Beats, and she's the girl who's, like, all ninja-y, and she's gonna probably, I'm trying to convince her to bring a broom, because in the, baseball episode, she's balancing the broom on her finger, as she's playing baseball, like a badass. And today, for the very first time, and my friend goes, here's a Prussia video. If you know me, Prussia is, like, my god. Prussia is the epitome of awesome. Prussia, anything to do with Prussia, I got. Like, Prussia is the coolest. I saw Prussia on a map once, and I was like, ah, Prussia! And my history teacher was like, a Italia thing, and I was like, he was like, okay. So I clicked it, and then the song started, and I was like, Rick ruled! And it's my enemy. I fall for it all the time because I am completely trusting of people. It's my fault. I trust people. I trust teachers. I trust everyone. If you tell me something, I'm like, cool. I was once told that a blue moon was actually blue, and I believed it. So Rickrolled happens all the time. It's like, I should stop clicking links. From now on, I've pledged to never click another YouTube link unless I'm 100% sure that I'm not being Rickrolled. His full name is Sirius Finnick Roy Mustang O'Dare Black. And this seems like a really outrageous name, but look at him. When he was a puppy, he looked like a tiny Sirius Black. So that's where Sirius Black comes in. And when we got him, his original name was Roy, and I was like, Roy Mustang? Like, miniskirts? And it's a dog. Okay, what goes more perfectly than Roy Mustang and a dog? Really, nothing. Except for Roy Mustang and a miniskirt. Stop touching his balls. So Alex is a sick person. No. Who just goes around fondling Sirius balls.
I will show everyone.
And also,
in the next one.
His name is Finnick because he was born on the Hunger Games premiere, March 23rd of 2012. Oh, that's where, because Finnick's my favorite. Not my favorite, but he's way up there. He's like the sexiest man since Prussia. They're really up there together. Oh. And if you haven't watched my Slender video, I will put a link in the bottom because my friends and I did it for a school project, and it turned out pretty awesome. We have the most views of anyone from our class.